Hey everyone, so it is now noon, so we will go ahead and get started. Hopefully everyone can hear me. My name is Gabriella Nyman, and I am NC CASA's Training and Communication Specialist. Before we begin our training on building a community on social media, just wanted to give everyone a brief introduction to NC CASA and what we do. The North Carolina Coalition Against Sexual Assault is an inclusive statewide alliance working to end sexual violence through education, advocacy, and legislation. Some of our work includes providing technical assistance, training institute, prevention, anti-human trafficking, legal advocacy, and our Young Advocates Institute. So some information about today's webinar. We ask that if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please type them into the chat box. We will be sending out certificates to those who attend, so please look out for the survey based on today's training. After you fill that out, we will go ahead and send you a certificate. This training will be recorded and it will be on our YouTube page later tonight. Our page username is 1NCCASA. So I am ecstatic to introduce our presenter for today. Lauren Weingarten, victim advocate and trauma educator, is the voice behind the popular Instagram account at #MeTooManyVoices, a community support network for survivors and supporters of survivors. With over 23,000 followers on Instagram, North Carolina resident Lauren definitely knows a thing or two about building the community on social media. Lauren has leveraged her own experiences as a survivor along with years of advocacy training and trauma education. Her work with #MeTooManyVoices focuses on survivor-led peer support, workshops, and virtual community events bridging local and global communities alike. She has also developed original educational resources for both survivors and professionals to use independently at home or together in the office, including workbooks, affirmation decks, and informative and supportive graphic artwork. Lauren, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Gabriella, and thank you, NC CASA, for having me. Welcome to today's webinar on building a community on social media. Again, Gabriella, thank you for that lovely introduction. In this webinar, we'll look at how rape crisis centers and organizations within the anti-sexual violence movement can utilize Instagram to build a community that supports survivors. We will talk about considerations when building this platform, making content and reposting content, utilizing the platform to fundraise, and the benefits to creating this space. Let's see. I think that a little bit about me is in order. My name is Lauren Weingarten, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a credentialed victim advocate through the National Advocacy Credentialing Program and a certified trauma professional through the International Association of Trauma Professionals. As Gabrielle mentioned, I run #MeTooManyVoices, a community support network that offers survivor-led peer support, workshops, virtual community events, both local and globally. My goal is to support survivors and supporters of survivors. Something fun, if I could eat one food for the rest of my life, it would be pizza. I would truly eat pizza for every meal if I could, but it's not healthy, so I don't. That's my dog Tofu. I also love to draw. I was born and raised in North Carolina, and I'm truly, truly so grateful for all the work that everyone here does. What an amazing community. And today, we're going to talk about taking these already existing communities onto Instagram and building a social media platform. Whether we wanted to or not, social media is here to stay. With COVID, especially with COVID, being able to connect virtually is more important than ever. Some of you may know Instagram, some of you may be new to you. Instagram is an online community. It's a fundraising platform. social networking service, a mainstay in today's modern world. It's an analytic tool to gauge outreach. And in their own words, Instagram is a simple, fun, and creative way to capture, edit, and share photos, videos, and messages with friends and family. Instagram is also currently owned by Facebook, so there's a lot of integration tools between the two platforms. You might be asking yourselves, so why use Instagram? So let's take a look. The number one reason why you should use Instagram, because your community is there. Simply put, since your community is there, you should be too. Let's take a look at some other reasons why Instagram is a natural fit to build your platform. It's accessible. People use Instagram as a hub for their life. It's meeting people on their level in ways of searching and receiving information the way they have grown accustomed. 71% of Instagram users are under the age of 35. And per RAINN, 69% of sexual assault victims are under the age of 34. With that fact alone, it makes Instagram the most logical fit to build this platform. Instagram's intuitive. Truly, people are not necessarily trained to think they're called their local rape crisis center. People may not even know what that means or what services you might be offering. So people now, they often will search hashtags or key phrases, terms that feel relevant to them and what they're going through. They're in control, which is utmost important for trying to regain for survivors. Very empowering. And we'll talk more about utilizing hashtags later in this webinar as well. You can also customize your online community for your own unique needs. Every survivor has their own unique story, and each rape crisis center and organization will have their own set of unique goals and challenges. Once you're able to assess your goals and what you want to achieve, you can tailor your social media platforms to fit those specific needs. And with Instagram, you only utilize the tools that you would like. Another great pro for using Instagram, you can expand your outreach. This statistic always shocks me. There are 500 million daily active users. And again, per Statistica, 63% of Instagram users check the app at least once a day. And 42% open the app multiple times within the same day. So it's probably safe to say that as a whole, we all use Instagram too much, but not many more people we can reach. People are on the platform. Building community, so important. As we know, survivors are often isolated and feeling like they have a place where they're seen and heard is crucial to their healing journey. I started Me Too Many Voices a little over 1.5 years ago, and I was confused and felt more alone than I ever had in my entire life. Though deep down, I felt that there had to be other people in their own pockets of the world, maybe feeling how I was. And I was right. It was heartbreaking and sobering and validating all in the same breath. Now, I currently have over 24,000 followers and growing every day. For a page that pretty much solely focuses on sexual violence and trauma, which are definitely not light topics, it shows that there's not only a need, but a want for these types of communities. Building a community through Instagram can allow you, survivors and their communities, to realize they're not alone, feel less isolated, reduce the stigmas surrounding sexual violence. Survivors and communities can gain a better understanding of consent and the truth behind rape myths, an opportunity to express their feelings and experiences, and often have them reciprocated by those in their community. Get information and practical advice, and educate themselves on how they can best support loved ones who have experienced sexual violence. I am a big fan of Judith Herman's Trauma and Recovery. And if you were going to apply the 3 stages of trauma recovery to building a community on social media, you could look at the safety aspect of building a safe online community. The remembrance and mourning stage could be the education, resources, solidarity, and support. And then reconnection, the ability to be able to engage with yourself and others, which is so hard to do when you're recovering from sexual assault. You can gain insights into community and engagement. Using the analytics, you can see what demographics are engaging with your platform. You can identify what areas you may need stronger outreach in. And just in general, see what your community is responding to. And the best part is Instagram does it all automatically. All you do is have to click a couple of buttons to see what the insights are. The fact that you can network with other organizations, both locally and globally, is actually one of my favorite things about Instagram. I personally chat with and work with survivors and orgs all over the world. You can share resources, whether it's your address, what services do you offer? Maybe you have an upcoming event. What services are you offering? Share that on the gram. Use Instagram and a social media as extension of your already existing website and existing resources. Fundraising. Once you link a Facebook account with Instagram, it allows you to fundraise directly from your Instagram profile and will allow others to fundraise on your behalf. And I know this is something you are all very interested in, and we'll have a whole section on it later in the presentation. And what Instagram is most known for, you can create content and live events. More opportunities now than ever to be able to boost visibility and outreach, whether it's going live with folks within your own organization or collaborating with others in your area and beyond. All right, some things to think about. Considerations before you get started. Let's take a look. What are my goals for building a social media strategy for my organization? This is the single most important question to ask yourself. I'll ask it again. What are my goals for building a social media strategy for my organization? We'll take a closer look at that and some other questions that can help determine that. And they'll help determine your overall social media strategy and approach as a whole. Number 1, what does my Rape Crisis Center or organization want to accomplish by creating a social media platform? Who is your audience? Local, statewide, global? And within those audiences, who win those? Know who you're trying to reach. What are your organization's metrics for success? What do you consider successfully growing your platform? That will also help determine some of your goals based on if you know what you're hoping to succeed. And how much time and resources can my organization realistically allocate towards social media? And with these questions, it's also really, really important to remember that all of these answers can and should probably, but can and will change and grow. So be sure to check back in and reevaluate, especially if you're feeling stuck or not getting the outcome you would like. We're going to dive a little bit more into that social media strategy, get you thinking about a few things, and expounding upon those original 4 questions to ask yourself in your organization, questions to ask yourself as you start to implement this social media strategy. Starting with, who's your contact person? Who has the access to your accounts? Is it one person or a team of people that will be working with your organization's social media? Who's the backup person if that person is out sick or on vacation? That's going to impact your flow of command. Is there a chain of command for approval before you post? What does that system look like? So let's say someone calls with an issue about a post or content on one of your social media accounts. They're not happy. Who would ultimately be responsible to answer it? Who's making that phone call back? That person might be at the top of the flow chart, and then you could work your way down. Is there an allotted amount of time to devote to social media? How much time per week? Where does it fit into the schedule? Who is doing what? Know that. So maybe every, let's say, Tuesday and Friday, 12 to 12:45 is social media time. It's on the calendar. Know what you plan to accomplish. A lot can get done when you schedule for it. Do we keep our direct messages open for questions? Are we able to allocate the time and resources to check the inbox regularly? If someone reaches out for help, do we provide direct support or to refer them to the helpline? Here you could consider setting up a quick reply, which is a setting in Instagram. Anytime anyone messages you back, you can send an auto reply back. And that could be an opportunity to refer to resources or a DM policy. Continuing on, what guidelines do we have surrounding what can or cannot be done via direct messages? Have we notified our community of these guidelines? Try your best to communicate as you would with any other office expectations or guidelines. How do we plan to inform users of our mandatory reporting laws or disclaimers? What contact info is shared on Instagram? How can people contact us? Do people know how to get to our office? Are services running differently for COVID or holidays? How do we plan to notify this information on the platform? Back to the quick replies. Do we want to enable quick replies? What will they say? This is a big one as well. What is our policy on blocking users or deleting comments? And who ultimately is making that decision? On that, with all of this, there's no right or wrong. It really is about what works for you and your organization. As far as blocking users, deleting comments, that's something I get asked about a lot. Again, there's no right or wrong, but I think it's important to be consistent with your policy, and all members of your team who you've identified who are working with social media are consistent with that and aware of what those expectations and guidelines may look like. I do a combination of things with Me Too Many Voices. If someone posts something and it is abusive and I notice it right as soon as it's posted, I will immediately delete and block that person. No questions asked. This is about creating a safe community. Sometimes I'll be in a meeting or a session, client, or I'm just away from my phone and I come back and I see that there was a troll, some inappropriate abusive comments. And I can see that others have seen it. I will challenge it. and defend others, depending upon the situation. But I think that it's important for those who saw that to see you defend them in that space, that you're trying to keep it safe. And if it escalates from there, that person gets blocked. Sometimes it's an unfortunate world we live in. Overall, I've been pretty lucky on the space, but sometimes a troll will go after a particular person for whatever reason. Often I will block that person and I will defend that person. I will also ask them if I can send them a direct message to check in. Rule of thumb, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we get to Instagram etiquette, but before I direct message anybody, I will always make sure that I have permission. Because like anything, their abuser could be having access to their phone. And if they get a message from a rape crisis center or an organization working with survivors, that could potentially put someone in a dangerous situation. So something to be mindful. Back to blocking. It can also be very empowering for survivors to stand up for themselves and others. I've definitely seen that happen. Really something to work out within your own organization and what you all feel comfortable with. And with all of these in your strategy, come back and reevaluate as needed. You're not writing it in stone. So you're excited, you're ready to move forward, but you might be wondering, how can I build a platform if I have limited time, resources, or staff, or all of the above? Have a clear idea of what you realistically can offer in way of time, staff, and resources, and set realistic goals and plans for yourself. Set yourself up for success. And it's also important to remember to maximize what you have. And remember that even a little bit of time can make a huge difference. Typically, you can either throw time or money into something, but sometimes, again, you don't have either. So here are a few tips to maximize what you do have. You can make a handful of posts at a time. It really does save time in the long run. Do you have existing resources on your website that you can share? You probably already have a lot of content that you're not considering. There's scheduling apps that you can pre-program posts to appear, to publish throughout the week. So you can preset them. You can plan to share other pages' posts rather than creating original content. With credit, of course. You can post on your profile if you do have limited availability. Let people know. I'm sure they would appreciate it. Do you have funds to hire someone to run your social media? Or are there grants that allow for social media assistance or content creation? And be clear on your internal social media policy so you don't lose time trying to clean up miscommunications and create burnout, especially if there is going to be a team of people working on it. And truly, even having a page up with your address, whether it's a link to your website, saying what your services are, using it to let people know that you're here and as a point, a reference point for your community, that's great. It will go a long way. Excellent. We are having some fun. Instagram etiquette, some things to consider. In general, sharing on Instagram, and when I say sharing, I mean sharing other people's posts, what others have shared previously. It's typically encouraged. It's a social networking site. Just be sure to tag or mention original poster when you do share. Or don't cut off their watermark. I've seen a lot of pages, unfortunately, do that and present them as their own or recreate other pages' graphics and say that they're your own. We spoke briefly about this, but ask before sending a direct message. Again, somebody somebody's phone, a survivor's phone could be in the wrong hands, and it could not be safe for them to be receiving messages from your organization. And big rule of thumb, extend your professionalism and respect for clients to social media. If you wouldn't do it or say it in the office, don't do it or say it online. This is another really, really big one. Inclusivity matters. As we all know, sexual violence affects all genders, ages, cultures, and classes. Be sure to keep them all in mind for language, content, and programming. A couple of examples to consider: using inclusive terms like they or them, creating posts and content in Spanish or whatever other languages you may have a need for within your communities. Have ASL translators for live events and captions in videos. Instagram automatically adds alt text for alt text program and image descriptions and captions. You can also go in there and customize them yourself. Have programming and consider specific outreach to marginalized communities. As you build your platform, ask yourself if you're being as inclusive as possible. For Me Too Many Voices, I plan to set some New Year's inclusivity goals that I plan to hold myself for this year, and I'm really excited about incorporating that. So we know why to use Instagram, so let's talk about how to use Instagram. We'll dive in. Before we do, some people may know all of this, so I'll go through it quickly, but some Instagram lingo. Bio, that's the section of the text under your username. That's kind of the proverbial about me. Your bio, your profile will be the first introduction to you, to the Instagram world. Your username is the name associated with your profile. A caption is the section under the photo that you add text or the description or hashtags. Post is what you're posting. On Instagram, sometimes you'll hear people say double tap. That just means to like a post. It's hip. Tag, linking another page to your post via the tag option. Mentions are similar to tagging, but you use the @ symbol to connect someone, to mention someone in a caption or a story. It's often sometimes used interplaceably with the tag. And then DM, direct message, that's private messages between you and other users. Hashtags are super, super, super important in Instagram. Back in my day, hashtags were called the pound signs, but now we're in a new world order where they are called hashtags. And they are a way to index keywords or topics. And really, Instagram is all indexed through hashtags. It makes it easier to discover posts around specific topics. And then that hashtag becomes that catch-all for that specific topic. As far as hashtags, Instagram does have a limit. I believe it's 30 hashtags, but more is not always better. Pick hashtags that are central to your post or vision, and you can add these hashtags to anything on Instagram. Posts, stories, videos, reels, IGTV. If it's on Instagram, you can throw a hashtag on it. And there really is no right or wrong hashtag to use. Play around with it. If I was a crisis center in Durham, I might add a Durham hashtag. Some other examples could be hashtag North Carolina, hashtag end rape culture, hashtag violence prevention, hashtag rape crisis center. Go to pages you like, see what hashtags they're using, see how they're using them. Have fun and play around. Mentions, that's the @ symbol. Anytime you put the @ symbol before another Instagram or page or user, that will notify them that you're linking them, and also it creates the live link. So if you appreciate a post and want to tell another account about them, at them in the comments. Maybe you're advertising for an upcoming Instagram Live with another organization, or want to make a repost, at the other organization in your caption. Okay, guess what? We're here. It's time to create an account. Let's do this. So some of you may already have an Instagram account. Others may not. You can use both Facebook and Instagram on either desktop or a mobile app. Some features, though, don't work on the desktop. You can sign up through either, but for example, you cannot go live, do an Instagram Live or video chat on the desktop, only on the mobile app. You get to pick your own username. It'll most likely be the name of your rape crisis center or your organization. You will be asked to link an email to the account. Think about whose email from your org should be used. I created a page to do some of these screenshots, so you can follow me now at training_example. I'm just kidding, but please do follow me at Me Too Many Voices. You'll need to create a password. Decide and keep track who from your organization has access to the account. And always good to remind the staff not to share that password. So again, you know who has access to it. And update it regularly for security purposes. You can choose to connect to Facebook at this time. In order to use Instagram fundraising, you will need to connect to a Facebook page. So if you are creating an Instagram page to start, you might as well, and you do want to fundraise, maybe go ahead and opt in to link your account. You don't have to connect to your Facebook friends or find contacts. You can opt to do that or skip if you don't want to divulge your entire contact list. But again, there's customizations at every single turn. Creating your profile. This is the fun part. Again, many of you already probably do have profiles, but taking a look at it, your name would be, the name of the Rape Crisis Center or organization. Your username would likely be the same. For the website, maybe you link to your website. Maybe you have a fundraiser that you want to link to that. Maybe there's a specific event where you could get Linktree and be able to link to as many things as you want to, all under one link. The bio, that's the about me. It can include where you're located, services you offer, maybe your mission statement, and the profile picture. Use your organization logo, throw that up there. And remember that your profile and bio are the first things that people will see. One other thing to note is that you want to make sure that you're in a professional account to be able to utilize the fundraising and the business integration tools that we'll talk about later. So now you have this account and you're eager to get going. Who should I follow? You have your local fellow NC Rape Crisis Centers. You have other organizations, community businesses that you work with or you like. You may already have your favorite pages that you like. Follow those. Just remember, whoever you're following, everyone, it's public. Unless you have a private page, everyone can see who you are following. So just be mindful of that for any reason. And you can follow and unfollow someone at any time. No one gets notified if you unfollow them, but if they knew you once followed them and see you don't anymore, they could deduce. You could block or unblock followers at any time as well. What should I post about? Really, the sky's the limit here. There's no right or wrong, and you can always use your analytics to see what's responding. And again, go back to what your goal is. Utilize and leverage your goal to what you might want to post about. It can also be info about your center, services, resources, maybe pics, getting to know your staff. Everyone always likes a good quotation, statistics and affirmations. Celebrate holidays. It's an opportunity to dismantle rape myths and provide information about sexual violence. Like a post from another account, reshare that. Survivors love anything with the survivor experience. Maybe you have some events coming up. Advertise, share about that. There's a lot going on in the world, and having this platform allows you to make statements about where you stand on certain current events if you want to, or provide solidarity and support. And if you're still not sure, or if you want to, ask your community. Ask them what they want to see. They'll know. They'll want to tell you. And as you're thinking about this, remember, inclusivity matters. Here's a couple examples of some Me Too Many Voices posts. I personally like the color, and I post every day. Here's a couple of examples. And you can celebrate more than federal holidays. Google fun calendars. So I did that, and looking at this list, I might go through. Some of them may not apply, but so January 4th is Trivia Day. That would be a perfect opportunity for sharing facts and statistics or hosting a trivia night. Creating posts. You do not have to be a design whiz to make colorful and creative posts. There are other programs, but in my experience, Canva and PicMonkey, both available through the App Store and desktop site, are the most user-friendly with great output. This is what Canva desktop looks like. It's clean and simple. I tend to use the desktop for more intricate graphics, and then the mobile for more basic designs. Some more screenshots. You can create sizes and design a post with a click of a button. You can upload your own pics, search for stock photos, use shapes and clip art, choose between different colors and palettes, resize as needed, custom text and fonts. Here's a quick video illustration of me making a simple design. This video is in live time. As you'll see, I'm using the custom options with click of a button. It's taking me a very short amount of time to create a very simple graphic. And you can also utilize the tools here and make very intricate graphics. There are options for those who are able to spend a lot of time and for those who have limited resources and would rather opt for the kind of plug and play option. So here we go. I'm going to change it from just breathe to I believe you. And within about 45 seconds to a minute, I have created one graphic. So again, when I say, if you have the program open, go ahead and make a handful of posts at a time so you can schedule them and maximize the resources that you do have. You can always reshare posts, either using a resharing app or screen grab and repost. And yes, Canva Pro is also free to nonprofits, which makes it extra advantageous. With resharing, just make sure you're always crediting the original poster, however you decide to share. I will add tagging. Always does increase your outreach as well, because that's connecting you to others. It's expanding your outreach. As I mentioned, you can also reshare with reposting apps. These days, there's truly a companion app to almost anything you would want to do. Repost, this is my favorite resharing app. Instagram has a lot going on right now. Stories, lives, reels, IGTV. Stories, they disappear after 24 hours, 15-second videos. You can share pics and reshare other posts. Regardless, they disappear after 24 hours from the timeline. Instagram Lives can be up to a 60-minute live video, and then you can share those on your stories or in your IGTV. Reels, which are relatively new, they're Instagram's answer to TikTok. 15-second quick videos that stay on your profile, on your feed. And then there's IGTV, which is the Instagram TV channel that's linked to your page. There's a couple of different time constraints. Typically, it's 15 seconds to 10 minutes or more if you have a verified or high follower account. And sometimes Instagram does trials with Android users or Apple users or just random users. So again, even though you're customizing it differently, you may still have a different default at a given time. And that's because Instagram is always rolling out different testing modules. So you're excited about going live, but what do I go live about? You can do staff and organization intros, informal chats with your community, FAQ lives with clinicians or legal advocates. Maybe you want to spotlight or chat with other organizations or people. Thinking about SAM coming up in April. What events would you normally have? What can you make those virtual? Game night, trivia nights. You can have fun with this too. They don't all need to be serious. And remember, be inclusive as much as you can. It's a great way to actionize support for marginalized communities and their supporters. And check your analytics where you might need more research, more outreach, whether it's wanting to reach more male survivors, do something Spanish speaking, more with the LGBTQ population, older population, whatever it may be. Use your goals and go live. So you're ready to go live. Instagram is known to change things up once in a while. In fact, while I was in the middle of preparing this presentation, they did a huge update to their layout. And at last check, they have not completely updated all of their help sections, I noticed, doing these screen grabs. So we're going to skip number 1, but you're actually going to go to the home button on your profile and then the plus sign, and a little menu will appear. And that's whether you want to do a post, if you want to do a story, a reel, or again, if you want to go Instagram live. And to join a friend's live that you're watching the live, there'll be a button that you can tap that says request to join the live video. Hit that request. And the original Instagram user, the one holding the live, will receive that notification and can accept it, and it'll sync you two up. You can add a title or customize your story control. Do know that as soon as you hit that satellite button, the go live button, you are broadcasting. Sometimes it takes a couple of seconds to show that people have joined your live, but your camera is on as soon as you hit that button. Analytics, or as Instagram calls them, insights. You can see and track insights, analytics related to your profile and posts to identify what your audience likes and engages with to improve your social media and outreach strategy. And they offer a lot of information. You can find out how many accounts you've reached. That's the number of unique accounts that have seen any of your posts, stories, or IGT videos at least once. Reach is different from impressions, which may include multiple views of your content by the same account. So again, the reach, the number of people who saw your promoted posts or stories at least once. Reach is different from impressions, which may include multiple views on your promoted posts or stories of the same people. And actually that, I read that wrong. That's promoted reach. So you can also promote certain posts to try to get them into bigger algorithms. But Instagram will also just tell you your reach automatically. You don't have to do promoted reach. I have yet to do a promoted reach. Impressions, the number of times anything you post have been on screen. There's account activity. You can find out how many people are visiting your profile. How many of the people are going to your website? Are people clicking to get directions? Are people trying to get your phone number, your email? You can do insights and track it weekly, monthly, yearly. And you can use this information to fine tune your social media strategy. Is there a certain time or day that trends highest for you? What posts are bringing people to your profile? Are people clicking the call or email button? How are people trying to reach you? All of this is information and insights into the work that you're doing on the platform and how you're reaching people. You can track your follower growth and see where your followers are and what content your community is engaging with the most. So looking at these insights from a few weeks ago, I see that most of my community is between the ages of 25 and 34, and 92% identify as women. So I might decide I'd like to reach out to more of an older population and more men. I might create more posts about elder abuse or where to get help for that. I would want to do a Instagram Live with a male survivor to help me reach more of the male demographic. Use your analytics to leverage your goals and mission. Without further ado, let's talk about some fundraising. We'll talk about the how in a moment, but here's a couple of fundraising ideas. A virtual concert or show, online auctions, virtual race. Those are always really popular, as are group virtual movie nights, workshops, or webinars. What events would you have for SAM? Consider making those virtual. Bring those to Instagram. And you can have different campaigns and events throughout the year. And you can also set it up so you have a donate button directly on your page. So people can be considering donating anytime they want to, not just specifically when you're having events. As I mentioned briefly, in order to fundraise on Instagram, you have to be linked to a Facebook account. We'll talk about the steps required to get you on your way to fundraising. So on Facebook, and again with Facebook, you can go on the desktop or the mobile site. You'll want to create a Facebook account and you'll want to sign up for the charitable giving tools. You'll also need to link your Facebook and Instagram accounts, making sure that your Instagram account is set to the business mode. Per Facebook, applications to sign up for Facebook's charitable giving tools take about 2 to 3 weeks. So be mindful about that it's not an automatic turn on enabling. You do need to be categorized as a charitable organization or a nonprofit to sign up for these giving tools. Instagram is working on rolling out personal fundraisers sometime in the future. But for now, it is the 501c3 eligible, which I imagine most of you will qualify for. What they'll ask for, I imagine, is based on this. It's your tax ID number, bank account, and date of birth and address of the charity's CEO or executive director. They will ask that. It might be a little bit different based on registering your organization with other groups. Per Facebook, as long as you meet those requirements, you will only be denied if you violate policies that violate hate speech or are spreading misinformation. I can't imagine that is anything for you all to be worried about, but just wanted to make you aware. And Facebook also does have a really good FAQs in case you wanted to dive in deeper, and you can always reach out to me as well. So we know we need to connect the Facebook page and Instagram account. You can do this either through Facebook or Instagram. Since we're already on Facebook, let's go to our Facebook page, click page settings, click Instagram, connect account. It'll ask you to enter your login credentials, and it should link you automatically. And this is directly from the Facebook page, so you can always go back to refer it as needed. And Instagram and Facebook, whether you want them to or not, often will have pop-ups and say, do you want to connect? So you will have probably several prompts reminding you as well. And once you're signed up and have been approved for the charitable giving tools and linked your accounts, you're ready to get started. And so you get to fundraise on Instagrams. You can go live on Instagram and hold your own fundraisers. You can also add donation stickers directly to stories and posts. In Instagram, if you wanted to add a donation sticker or a donation button to a story, open up the camera and upload a photo that best highlights your cause. And then there'll be a sticker button. You'll tap that and select a donation sticker. And since you're already registered, you select your nonprofit from the list. And anybody can add that sticker. Anybody can donate it. You can use different creative tools to kind of customize your story. Send it to your story. And here you go. Here's a picture from TechCrunch showing a donation sticker in action. So right then and there, anybody who sees your story, all they would need to do is click that sticker and they would be able to donate directly to you. Since you're already also set up through Facebook, you're set up where you can also hold fundraisers directly through Facebook. So between the two of them, you can do fundraising through Facebook and Instagram with those same integrating tools. Here's an example of what a Facebook fundraiser page might look like. And you're not alone if you need support setting up some of these new tools. There's different support groups for both Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget, you can always reach out to me as well. And while today's webinar was focused mostly on setting up Instagram, there are other social media platforms for you to continue to grow your communities. Some of those examples on ways to utilize them. Facebook, we know you can link it to Instagram, or you can use it on your own. Facebook is more popular with those over the age of 30. So again, if that is a goal of yours, consider using Facebook. Twitter. One disadvantage of Instagram is there's not really places to link articles or links. Twitter, you can link an article, link to a website all day long, click of a button. YouTube, all the videos you're creating on Instagram, throw those up on a YouTube page. Pinterest, you can collect and pin graphics and other visual elements in an online gallery. TikTok, short form videos, 3 to 30 seconds long. Apparently it's the very new and hip thing. I do not do TikTok, so I do not know what that means about me. And then there's Reddit, of course, which is a forum if you wanted to have conversations, sharing articles, and engage more in discourse. We'll pivot to answering your questions now, but sincerely, please do feel free to reach out with any questions or if you have any issues with the social media onboarding. Remember, there's no right or wrong when it comes to implementing a social media strategy. It's just whatever is right for your organization. I hope you have fun while creating your platform and engaging with your communities in new ways. Reach out anytime. I'm also available for consulting and contract work if interested, and bulk orders are available from both the MTMV Survivor Shop and on any custom or contracted orders. This email, metooManyVoices@gmail.com, goes directly to me. Reach out anytime with any questions, thoughts, issues, any way that I can support you and your community. Excellent. I'm seeing some questions come in. Let's see, and keep them coming. Please do type in. How do you create a link tree on Instagram? Great question. And again, a link tree is a way for you to be able to link to, in your profile, if you want to link to a website, but you have more than one website or more than one place that you'd like to send to people. Linktree is like it says, it's a link tree. It's one link, but with able to have as many different links as you want to. Gabriella just put a link in the sign up, but it is really as simple as creating an account and copying and pasting the different links that you want to add to your link tree. And then when you're ready to share to Instagram, you share your link tree as your website address. And there's different customization tools within Linktree for design and for how many links that you might want to share. Thank you. I know we covered a lot today. What other questions do you might have? Don't everyone type in all at once now.
All right, we'll go ahead and give it another couple of minutes if anybody has questions. Oh, there we go, another question.
Excellent. How do you create a highlight on your profile? Excellent, thanks for asking that. A highlight, for those who don't know, lives on your Instagram profile page for as long as you keep that highlight up. Highlights come from stories and they appear below your bio before your feed, everything that you're posting. So while as you continue to post, new graphics, something you posted from a couple of weeks ago, it'll keep moving down, so it'll be harder for new people to see. But a highlight is always at the top of your page. Highlights come from stories. So a highlight, in order to make something a highlight, it'll be something that will have had to have been previously shared to your stories. So once you're viewing it in your story, you'll hit the button for options, and it will ask if you want to turn that story into a highlight. And you do. And if you're creating a new highlight, it'll ask you, what do you want to name that highlight? You can also upload a different photo to make that the kind of cover of the highlight album, or you can use that graphic and frame it up. There's a certain part so that that is the album cover. And if you want to go later on, if let's say you have a highlight called resources and you share another resource through your story, again, you'll go to the settings within the story and click add to this existing highlight. It'll show up what your different highlight options are for you to be able to add it to that album. And then another thing about highlights is if you have a whole bunch of highlights and then add a new story to that highlight will jump at the front of the list, highlighting that highlight on your profile.
All right, we got another question in the Q&A feature. What is the create room function in Facebook Messenger? And I can either answer this, or if you want to, Lauren, you can.
Sorry, for some reason you broke up a little bit and I missed the beginning part.
Oh yeah, sure. So we got a question in our Q&A feature. What is the create room function in Facebook Messenger?
I can let you handle that one. I'm not sure about the create room.
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's just Facebook's version of the video conferencing feature. It allows up to 50 people into a video chat at once. So it's basically like a Zoom meeting in some ways.
It was excellent.
Okay, so another one. I post easily from my Instagram to my Facebook story. However, is there an easy way to do it from a Facebook story to Instagram story?
Yes. I don't know if there's an easy way, but there's definitely a way. If you go into your Facebook messaging options, you should have a way to be able to share directly. And if for some reason that is giving you trouble, you can also use one of those resharing apps that we spoke that also works directly from Facebook to Instagram and Instagram to Facebook, utilizing being able to share from any platform to another with just a couple of clicks of buttons. But Facebook normally will allow you to toggle between an auto share to linked accounts.
Okay, and then I could answer this next question because we've actually had this problem. So have you or anyone had difficulty placing Instagram or Facebook ads because they mistakenly think your content relates to social issues or elections, even though it doesn't? I've done an appeal, but still have gotten refused. It was an ad for free online prevention education training. So yes, because Instagram is owned by Facebook, it falls under the same policies where if you mention sexual violence, sexual assault, anything around those, the ad will correlate to being seen as a social issue, and Facebook will automatically take it down. And so will Instagram. One way that we've gotten around this is by putting our ads on Snapchat and Twitter. But there is a way to get around it. I believe you have to link it to an actual person instead of an organization. But a lot of people understandably are uncomfortable by that. So it's something that on a national level, all of our coalitions have been trying to appeal to Facebook that that our ads shouldn't fall under social issues.
And I'll add to that too. It really is unfortunate, and I'm glad to hear that is something that is being worked on. I know I have written many a letter to Facebook as well. I recently tried doing an ad for, I sell affirmation cards for sexual assault survivors, and I was told that that does not meet community guidelines. And again, I think there's an algorithm for the ads that if it's also could say sometimes it picks up on sexual assault and you can appeal a review, because sometimes again it is just a bot who sees it and decides that it's not allowed, and a review sometimes will allow for a human being to say, okay, this is not what the bot thought it was. Hopefully there will be changes. I know Facebook has been getting it from a lot of different areas, as they should, especially when, unfortunately, they let a lot of other things slide, as we see. We all see it, things that they do allow, but then they're going to flag one of your adverts. So it is something that is being addressed. I know most of my people that I've spoken to, they have said that if they use the term just survivor and reference education, that they haven't had any issues. So there are some workarounds, but hopefully, as Gabriella said, the issue will be resolved sooner rather than later. Facebook is also, I just read, I think this came up the past few days, that there's been a lawsuit, and I think they're going to have to be selling Instagram because it's becoming a monopoly. Though I can't imagine those things happen quickly. I don't really know what the timeline of that is, so I don't think it's anything happening in the near future.
Okay, so another question, what planning/posting program do you use? So for NC Casa, when I use it, I use Hootsuite. Lauren, what do you use?
Laterally, I typically, either Hootsuite is another one. I do not do that many scheduling in advance, but laterally, Posterly, Hootsuite, I believe are the most popular.
All right, does anybody else have any other questions? We'll go ahead and stay on for the next couple of minutes if any more come through.
Thank you again all for being here. I have loved building my social media platform, and now more than ever, there's so many different pages and organizations that are creating more webs to this community. It's turned into a really, really nice space, and I hope that you enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for being here with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So if there's any more questions, definitely feel free to answer it. I'm just going to reiterate a few points. Everyone who attended will receive a certificate. Before you receive it, you will be sent a survey. Once you fill out that survey, then you will receive your certificate for attending. Once again, this webinar was recorded because we know it was jam-packed with a lot of information, really useful information. And so we will have that on our YouTube channel later tonight if you want to go back and review any of it at any time. Yep, Lauren, definitely feel free to email Lauren at metooManyVoices@gmail.com, and definitely go check out her Instagram page at metooManyVoices. Really great content on there. And once again, like Lauren mentioned, sometimes there just aren't enough hours in the day, and a really easy thing to do on Instagram is repost and tag the person that created it. All right, so it doesn't look like we have any other questions, so we will go ahead and end the webinar. Thank you all so much for being here with us. And I believe this is our last webinar of 2020, so we look forward to seeing you all in 2021. Great. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you all. Happy New Year.